Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, and thank you for hanging out, sticking with us today. And today we start off, we're joined by the Governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Rotimi Amaechi, who is also the Director General of the Buhari Campaign Organization. Morning, and thank you for joining us again today.
Good morning. How are you?
We're fine here. We started off talking about education at some point in terms of standardization of education, and then I also understand that some comments have been made about River State and education. But before we even get into River State and education, how are you fitting into your new position now as the Director General of the campaign organization?
The same way I did when I became a governor. Most people thought I was a bit too young to be governor of River State, and they assumed that I won't be able to perform. 6 months down, and everybody was like, something different. I think we're going to offer the GMB campaign a different outlook. We're going to get Nigerians to see that the man is different from what PDP was portraying him for the past 16 years. And let the world see him for who he is. And we've done that by showing that he's truly a family man. They try to paint the picture of as if he's not a family man, as if he doesn't smile, and the man makes the best jokes anybody can hear. We're trying to send to you a man who, though 70, is more fit than others, than most other people who are competing with him. You saw him on the day we marched against the impunity of the president, and he joined us to march from the Ego Square to Hilton, back to the police headquarters, stood out there till we left, till we closed 6 p.m.
All right, well, let's talk about education. I mean, I understand that there was that allegation that was made against you that you haven't paid salaries, but here you are funding the campaign organization with a lot of vigor. Is that true?
It was in this your station that one young man, I doubt if he comes to River State, he probably lives in Abuja, made the allegation that we have not paid teachers for 8 months. In fact, we are paying our December salary. We started paying December salary yesterday, and we finished today, because the instruction was that they should make sure that no civil servant left for Christmas without his December salary. Some states, PDP states, are owing. I can name them if they want me to name them. But I'm not sure that there's any APC state that is owing salary. Now, how can a young man who does not have his statistics come here and say that? Then at the same time, if a presidential spokesman, when you have an appointment, now I have an appointment as the Director General of Buhari campaign, I will not make a careless statement that I have no facts on. So a presidential spokesman comes forward again yesterday to issue a statement about funding the campaign by Governor Rotimi Amaechi, and at the same time saying we are owing 8 months' salary. He has no facts.
So you have never owed salaries for teachers, and you are not owing salaries for teachers? I have never owed salaries, not whether teacher or cleaner. And I can tell you our income. When it was so bad, and first they should first and foremost take responsibility for the poor situation in the states. Is it stealing at the federal level that has denied us funds? Now, but keep that apart. Because we have fallen from 20 billion to 12, our wage bill is 9.2. When we pay our indebtedness of about 10 billion, we're left with 2 billion. But they've forgotten that before I became governor, the IGR was 2.5 billion. We've been able to raise the IGR from 2.5 billion to 8 billion. From where?
That's exactly that's what to ask. No new taxes, nothing, just stopping corruption.
How did you raise it in the state?
Just stopping corruption. The same IGR we've been collecting in other government, the same IGR we're collecting now.
What did you do specifically?
Some corruption that I made sure nobody shared the money before. What they do is they give the state government 2.5 billion, other interests will share the rest. And I say put every money on the till. When they brought the money back, we saw that we're getting more money. So it's no longer 2.5 billion. We first raised it from 2.5 billion to 6 billion, 6 billion to 8 billion, without introducing any new tax. Ask the state. You can ask anybody in the state. That's another source of corruption. If I wanted to continue, I would say, we're raising 2.5 billion. Then I can join the sharing of the remaining money.
So you haven't really had any issues with allocations coming to you as and when do you?
Well, we've had, as I said, we've had our challenges from the federal government. But what we do is that we have a fallback on our IGR, that's internally generated revenue. And I'm proud to say that that income is able to rise up to 8.5 billion because we're able to plug the loophole of corruption.
Is this every month?
Every month.
So, if I'm getting you correctly, what you're saying is that you now have 12 billion as your income?
That's what we receive from the federal government. From 2025 that we used to receive, it has fallen to 12 billion. In fact, we were lucky last month that we got 14. We are very lucky. And there are two reasons for that. The first, I have said consistently, that the federal government can't defend the fact that in 2010, under Yar'Adua, oil subsidy was 200 billion, 300 billion, I mean. In 2011, after the death of President Yar'Adua, under President Goodluck Jonathan's first tenure, his first 6 months in office, oil subsidy rose to 2.3 trillion. You can ask them, I was in the meeting. The governors refused to collect their money when it was 1.7 trillion. We asked the government, how did this rise? We can't collect our monthly allocation. As a governor, 66 governors were at the meeting. And we said we can't collect our money. And the president pleaded with us to go to collect our monthly allocation, that he will stop this. And we agreed. We went back, took our monthly allocation. The next month it rose to 1.9 trillion. And we again refused to collect our monthly allocation. All the 36 governors. And in that meeting, I asked the president to sack his minister for petroleum, to sack the minister of state of finance, who was at that meeting, to sack the GMD of an NPC, who told us that they collect their money up front. They don't even allow the money to get into the federation account. They said it at the meeting. I didn't say they gossip behind. They said it to the 36 state governors, that they collect their money up front. And I said, but the Constitution simply says that all revenues accruable to the federation must first and foremost be paid into the federation account. So because of the total indiscipline, the level of corruption in the federation, look at how much they raised, 21 billion. These are the same people who collected
Is APC not going to raise their own funds? You will raise your own funds too.
Where will you get it from?
You're not going to raise funds for the campaign.
If you call a fundraising today, you will see how many people that will come.
So how
are you going to raise up to 1 billion?
How are you funding the campaign
exactly. If you look at the Buhari campaign organization, we have put a process in place where Nigerians will donate 1 naira, 2 naira, 10,000, 15,000.
Is that what you will intend to rely on?
If you think you will match this president with money, then you will not win the election. The way to win this election...
But are you telling us that you will depend on that
we will depend on the people.
Solely?
We will certainly depend on the people. Where will they get the money from?
But we're not there's a word out there that governors fund the campaign. Okay. They can't rely on people giving you 1 naira,
unfortunately, the governors in APC are not the rich governors.
River State is not rich.
When I say that we now don't collect 20 billion anymore, we now collect 12 billion. Well, please,
how many states get
my wage bill?
How many states get 12 billion?
Please, sir, my wage bill is 9.2 billion. Don't forget I employed 13,200 teachers. Don't forget I employed 400 doctors.